Like I was saying, they have this really awkward conversation, at least for me, because I'm not a woman, but it felt awkward. Lennon is giving Allison tips on how to suck a dick.
Not just suck a dick, like
toothbrush.
No, just sexual, just sex in general.
But she had the toothbrush like, put this in your mouth.
Yeah.
As far as you can.
Yeah.
And I want to make a disclaimer because we have seen the second episode. Finish this episode because episode 2 is Lord above better than the first one.
And we would have never thought that.
Let me tell you how it's about to go. Let me show you the towel you're about to throw. This is hip-hop, try to run an on-house war, knock your ass straight out the door. I'm the enemy's epitome, the fantasy, my tendency to mentally give your career the death penalty. I instantly advise you to match my intensity, try to fit my brain like Jackie Kennedy. I'm so tired of the why not side of putting MCs in a pine box. You motherfuckers couldn't even hit me in my blind.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Lost Legends TV. We are Ready to MC, and I'm Ray.
And I'm James.
We're here to review I Know What You Did Last Summer, episode 1.
Now, if you have not seen this show, it is on Amazon. Alright, it's on Amazon Prime. You can watch the first 5 episodes of this right now where we're at. We got to it late, but we're going to try to review this episode, this show, and even if we don't like it, that's the goal, is just to try to review it and let you know how we felt about it.
Because we reacted to the trailer last week.
Again, so if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It's the same with the Chucky series. If you haven't seen the episode, we're going to do spoilers. We always do. It's hard for us not to talk about spoilers. So let's get into this. First off, this is not, from what I can tell, it's not like a direct, it's not in the same area as the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, or even part 2. It doesn't have any of the same characters.
Nope.
So far, it hasn't.
And I think this is based in Hawaii.
The best that we can tell is in Hawaii.
Yeah. I can't remember the town name.
There's a restaurant that's called Ohana. Feel free to correct us. We takes place the story of somebody named Lennon. The main character, her name is Lennon. The first fucking 5-10 minutes just felt like a drag to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, and if you agree, you agree. It's not the acting of the characters. The people who are acting in these roles, I feel like they're doing a good job representing the character that they have been given.
Not giving it away yet, but I think the biggest flaw in this pilot episode is pacing. It has a serious pacing problem. From the introduction to the second act and even the third act. We'll get to it.
So again, like the first 5-10 minutes just kind of seem to drag on. Like she's looking over the water and like she's talking.
She gives like a voiceover dialogue.
But she doesn't say anything to me that was like memorable.
Right, yeah.
Like it was just like she's talking about nothing. And she's riding in her car, she lights up a cigarette, and somebody texts her and says, I can see you. And you see a clown emoji next to the thing, so I guess that's supposed to be, is like the clown emoji is that person for her or whatever. She stops, almost hits the dog, whatever. So she gets back in town from college, and she's going to see her dad. Her dad owns a restaurant and apparently makes great money.
Well, it's a restaurant and lodge.
I didn't know about the lodge. I can't remember the lodge part. Lyndon is obviously shook up. Her dad kind of brings up last summer, which obviously was going to happen. At this point, I don't know what happened last summer, obviously. I will say eventually I called it. I called something that happens in the first episode. Early. She goes to her room, opens her door after running into this very odd house cleaner. She's such an odd character, and it's like...
Her name's Courtney, and she gives off a weird vibe. She's like a mix of like, hey, what the fuck you doing here? I'm gonna beat your ass.
The first time she walks in, I thought she was like the stepmom or something. Because they didn't say anything about a mom at the point, so I thought it was just a stepmom. And she walks in, and she gives off that kind of vibe, and then she's kind of like, I come in here, I clean on Thursdays. Okay, cool. Well, you ain't got to do it today. All right. And she just, left.
That's
like,
all right.
What? All right. And she's in the second episode. She opens her closet door, and we don't really see what's in the closet door for real. We see blood. So we're thinking, okay, there's got to be a dead body or something like that. Bam. Cuts back to last summer. So now we're going to find out what happened last summer.
So they're having this big graduation party at Margot's house. So Margot is this, she's a lot. She is evidently very social media popular. And she carries herself that way. She's very entitled to everything she does. Like she wouldn't go to like a Waffle House around here, you know. If it's not fucking suit and tie ready, she ain't going.
Exactly. Then you've got Johnny, who I'm assuming, at least in the time frame of the last summer, was pretending not to be gay. It really came off like he was like in front of like the parents, Because the parents are at this fucking huge ass party that they're throwing. He really seems like he was pretending that he wasn't gay in front of them. Like he was in a relationship with Margot or whatever.
He stayed with the girls. Then you got Riri, or Riley. They call her Riri. She's just a straight up drug dealer. Like, that's what she does. She's walking around this whole frat party. Hey, here you go. And I want to state something. When they show scenes in this party, they don't give a fuck. There's this dude with his dick out, pissing in the pool. Motherfucker's in the bathroom doing some blow.
Like there was a girl passed out next to the toilet. And I don't know if he'd just been throwing up or if they just had sex or whatever. He's just sitting next to her, turns, and does a line of coke.
So, yeah. And there's also this scene where this other character we'll introduce in a second. And Riley's walking up the steps outside. And there's just these ass cheeks in the window. Yeah. They're like, what are they doing?
They were talking about fuck, marry, kill at that point.
Yeah, fuck, marry, kill. Like, I said to James, what the fuck does that have to do with fuck, marry, kill?
No, it doesn't.
What?
Then obviously, the character that was walking with Riley is Dylan. The context we can get, Riley and Dylan are close friends. Close friends. Not that they're in a relationship or anything. I kind of got the vibes that Riley was into Dylan, but like she wasn't like the type of person that would say that kind of shit. Yeah. She's a real chill character. Honestly, I did not like any of these characters in the first episode. God, I could not stand Margot. If I had to pick somebody that I was at least close enough to liking, it was Riley.
This party, again, is a graduation party. They got parents, they got fucking teenagers doing blow. They even got this bouncy house where everybody parties, and evidently they go the bouncy house to fuck.
Yeah.
Like a dedicated spot to fuck. The two main characters you have to focus on here, besides the friends, you have Lennon and Allison. So Lennon is the pinpoint, the pivotal character of this party because she's like the most popular girl around. She's dancing with Margot.
Like they're dry humping each other basically.
Yeah.
And they even kiss. And I wanted to say this to you when we were watching it. That's just like her greeting. She literally kissed random people. This one dude, she walked past and was like, "Oh, I can't believe you're going somewhere," and they just kissed him straight on the lips. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying like a peck on the cheek or anything like that. Like she started like kissing him on the lips and shit, like every fucking person.
She carries herself very carefree in every aspect.
She
also likes drugs.
Which is nothing like how she is at the beginning of the film.
True.
Which I was going to attribute it to some kind of traumatic event. And again, there's parents at this party. I don't know if they know the kids are doing drugs or not, but they're just willingly letting this party go on, and there's like crazy shit going on.
Yeah, but surely if they go to the bathroom and take a piss, I see fucking a line of coke, and like, oh, okay.
Allison is so, I do not want to be here. Apparently she can't. She doesn't even have her license. So that's the only way she was getting here. You know, Lennon was kind of giving her crap because she has a crush on Dylan.
I don't know if we mentioned this. Lennon and Allison are sisters.
Basically twin sisters.
Yeah, it's day and night between Lennon and Allison.
Yeah. Like I said, Lennon is a partier. She's obviously more sexually forward than Allison. Allison is very like in the background. Like she's like
very reserved.
Very reserved. And like I said, she doesn't drive, she doesn't drink, she doesn't do drugs or anything like that. And she's very timid about how she does things. They just shoot back and forth between different people at the party. Like at one point, Dylan's playing Mortal Kombat. Riley takes him out. That's when they go up the stairs and they do the fuck, marry, kill thing, which they start talking to. Because apparently Dylan never wants to play the game because he'll never kill anybody. And she was like, "Was there somebody you would?" And he didn't really say anything. Walked up the stairs and he's like, "Yeah, Hitler. I'd kill Hitler." But like she didn't say Hitler. Like she didn't like introduce that. Like she's like, "Would you kill Hitler at least?" And like maybe the pause for that. If she did, she whispered that shit.
We caught the end part of that dialogue.
Lennon is taking Allison to what she says, give her a makeover.
They have this really awkward conversation.
In the bathroom.
Lennon and Allison go and they see Riley and Dylan. Lennon gets drugs from Riley. And Allison clearly has this huge crush on Dylan. The way they look at each other, party vibes.
But she's very timid, so like you know she's not gonna say anything.
And then Lennon, like, she's kind of pushing Allison, like, hey, go talk to Dylan. Or she makes statements like, hey, Allison kind of gets embarrassed about it and goes to the bathroom. That's when Lennon follows her. Like I was saying, they have this really awkward conversation, at least for me, because I'm not a woman, but it felt awkward. Lennon is giving Allison tips on how to suck a dick.
Not just suck a dick, like
toothbrush.
No, just sexual, like just sex in general.
But she had the toothbrush like, put this in your mouth.
Yeah.
As far as you can.
You can't even say it.
But anyway.
She's trying to give her tips. She's like, if you do this at the right time, or if you move
Angle yourself.
at a certain angle, he'll never forget it. Allison is clearly not wanting to be a part of this. She said something about being Lennon, basically being a slut, like she fucks everybody.
She fucks to get her way. Fucks her way to friendship. She
School.
was like school, like fucking a coach or something.
No, it was a teacher, so she passed her grade. They have this like really emotional scene right there, and then Allison just walks off. It was basically Allison was just tired of like Lennon trying to force how she acts on her. Allison goes out on the beach, and Johnny goes out there and talks to her. They have like a little conversation, and they start smoking cigarettes together and shit. And then while this is going on, Lennon goes and finds Dylan and starts talking to him. Allison comes back inside, and she finally gets the courage to talk to Dylan.
Allison walks up to Dylan, and Dylan is clearly acting different now. He's kind of spaced out. He's pouring a shot, overfills a little shot glass. Lennon walks up beside Allison, and you can just tell something happened. And Allison figures it out. And what had happened was Lennon got Dylan to do like this nose spray thing.
It was. I think it was still Special K.
Yeah.
It fucked him up.
Lennon fucked him. Just straight up. I guess that was a proof of point to Allison, because back in the conversation, he's never gonna fuck you unless you fuck him. Something along those lines. And Allison finds out. She's like, hey, I can't fucking believe you. And then Allison storms out of the party. And then Lennon basically
She just sits
whatever.
Yeah. They do flashbacks back to this conversation they had because they don't show us the whole conversation. I mean, you're supposed to be rooting for Lennon. Like, if I show you the main character of my show...
But I wasn't.
And then no point was I. Like, at least in the beginning, I had like a second where I was like, okay, well, maybe like I'll get some more character development or whatever. And like, even when she started to talk to Allison or whatever, I was like, okay, so we didn't see Allison, so something must have happened to Allison. All that shit that she does, I'm like, bro, like, fuck that girl. Riley's passing out drugs and she sees the cop. Cops at the party, this huge ass party where people were doing a bunch of fucking drugs.
Like you're gonna hide that. But.
Yeah, you're not gonna hide that. So she's trying to get out of there because of it. And the cop is hanging out with Lennon and Allison's dad. She's trying to find everybody. And then they talk about how this cop is at the party or whatever. So they go to the car.
And Lennon's there because Lennon went there because she started to crash and she started to realize everything that happened, and she got kind of felt bad about what she did.
And she was like crying and everything. Yeah. So they all hop in this car with her, like ready to leave. Dylan's like, is Allison okay? Lenna's just like, no, she's not. And then she starts driving. She's fucking driving erratically.
She backs into something like the first thing.
And then, of course, they do the most callback thing to the original movie, which is the car ride.
Car ride, every character is acting like their character. Margot's still doing her social media bullshit. I can't remember if they directly mentioned, like, Instagram, but she's, like, doing videos, and like she's still in the party scene.
And they're trying to drink, and they're trying to calm Dylan down by making him drink.
Dylan's, like, not having it. He's like, get the fucking camera on my face. He's like, he's still freaking out about the ketamine. He's like, hey, I feel like I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And then, boom, they hit something. There's this moment of silence, and Dylan's like, I'm sure it was a goat. Everybody is kind of in agreement, but they get out.
Riley gets out, because she's like, I'm going to go look.
And then they see something not directly in the road, but off, like, to the side in the bushes.
Which means they would have to hit it, and it would have bounced into the area that it was. It didn't really make a lot of sense where it was at.
So Riley went over there, and everybody else starts getting out of the car. Lennon gets out because she's still freaked out because she's the one driving. Riley and Margot's like, don't come over here. Like, you don't need to see this. And then we discover she hit Allison.
Which I knew that once they got out the car. I was like, okay, they hit her, but there's other stuff that, again, I'll get to that when we get to it. At this point, they do the classic freak out thing.
Call the cops.
Dylan was like, well, we got to turn ourselves in. And they were like, no. This is the one time I actually respected Margot's character. Because, like, she was talking to Lennon in the most nice and considerate way anyone should talk to somebody in that situation. Other than that moment, she's an absolute bitch that I would never want to be around.
Self-entitled bitch.
Like, Dylan wants to turn themselves in. Johnny agrees with him for a second. The girls are adamant. Lennon's not saying anything. She's sitting on the side of the road. Riley even takes Dylan's phone and puts it, because she's wearing like a skirt, I believe, right?
Yeah.
She puts it like in the waistband of the skirt, possibly even in her underwear.
You ain't calling nobody.
Like, you're not grabbing this.
Yeah.
And like, she even stands there for a second and he doesn't reach. She's like, that's what I thought. They're all arguing. They're trying to figure it out. And eventually, Dylan's the one who comes up with the idea.
Take her to the cave.
It's even a worse idea because you find out her mom committed suicide in that fucking cave. Mm-hmm. One, Dylan, how the fuck do you go from let's turn ourselves into let's dump the body where her mom committed suicide?
Yeah.
Like, that's such a leap. That's such a fucking character leap. Like,
so they take Alice's body to the cave. We get a little bit of backstory about all these names on the wall. Evidently, there's some kind of cult there. And there's this weird phenomenon from what Dylan explains that anybody dies in the cave, the name goes on the wall.
Yeah.
And I can't figure out why. So they have this sad moment where they're all basically saying their goodbyes to Allison. She's sitting there. The tide's coming in, which is going to wash her away.
There's also a moment in the car where like they heard like gasping or whatever, but it was her ringtone, which that's a fucking weird ass ringtone to have.
And that comes into play later in this cave scene because once they leave, Riley thought she heard gasping one more time. Dylan comes back like, hey, what's wrong? She's like, nothing. No, it's nothing.
And when they walk up to like, the cliffside, there's this woman who's standing out there apparently who saw the whole thing. Because she's literally looking over there like, what the fuck? And she obviously saw this whole thing. And then here comes the twist for the first episode. Because like I said, they kept doing flashbacks to the conversation between Lennon and Allison. Lennon was saying or whatever, like talking about like their mom or whatever, and Allison was saying that no one in the family actually loved her or cared about her besides the mom. And Lennon said that's not true. She did not care about you, and like, why would you take that from me? So she tosses her necklace, Lennon. Like Allison takes her necklace off that has her picture of her mom and her on it. Throws it at Lennon. Lennon, after Allison leaves, freaks out and she's like, no, was it Allison when grabbed the jacket? It was Allison, right? Allison's trying to leave, so she's trying to grab her jacket. This couple's on her jacket, basically dry humping each other. So she just grabs Lennon's jacket. She goes sit in the car, which gives you the reveal that Allison was the one who was in the car. She just pretended to be Lennon in that situation because she just wanted to get out of there in that situation. Which is also why at first she was driving erratically because she didn't know how to fucking drive.
She don't have a license.
So they hit Lennon.
And Allison's just acting like Lennon at this point. That's what she's doing.
The rest of the and then they cut to what was in her closet. So go ahead and said, "I know what you did last summer." And then we cut to black. Thoughts on the first episode?
My thoughts is I fucking hated it.
Yeah.
And I want to make a disclaimer because we have seen the second episode.
We'll review it.
Yeah, we're going to review it for y'all. I highly recommend, if you didn't like this, I thought it was a really shitty pilot episode, which I think should have been the most important episode to focus on. Yep. This is your pilot. This is what you're going to suck people in. It seemed like it was dragging at some points. I think the party scene, like, really too long because you have like a 10-minute opening of the dialogue, all this partying, a little bit of story, and then the reveal.
Is it like Ray was saying? It's awful at pacing. There's some shit that just legit makes no sense. Like there's no reason that should be happening.
And there's random shit happening. Like we didn't even mention Dale.
Oh yeah, whenever they hit Allison or Lennon, Dale pulls up. This dude pulls up, and Margot and Riley go up to him, and he's just like talking to him, like, "What are y'all doing out here? Car trouble?" Like, no, we're good.
Evidently, Margot can fucking
vomit on
demand, yeah.
She vomits in the front of the hills, like, okay, well, I guess y'all got it handled. It's the stupidest shit. God damn. He's not really saying anything of note. And then he's like, just sitting there for a second, and Margot and Riley just sitting there, and he says this to them, and it's not something I would have ever said to them if it was me. This man looks at these girls and is like, all right, well, I'm about to go lay some pipe, and then it drives off. What the fuck is this shit?
There's a lot of random moments like that.
There's so much. Like I said, the Courtney thing was random. Dale's shit was random. The snorting coke shit was like, I get they're doing drugs. Like, what were they doing beforehand?
I think overall, if me and him wasn't watching it and we didn't plan on reviewing it, I would have turned it off.
Like he said that right after we finished. Like if it was just him watching it, like if he turned it on his own self, he would have turned it off at some point. We basically had to power through it. Right before they did the actual turn, I turned to Ray, it's like, they're identical, aren't they? Yeah. Nope. Okay, yeah. So, and I was like, so they switched that shit. The only reason, like, I basically knew from the moment whenever Allison lit up a cigarette with Johnny. I was like, wait, for one, Lyndon was doing that shit at the beginning. Lyndon hadn't smoked no cigarettes in this whole episode besides that one part. The way Lynn was acting was completely different than how she was acting in the opening. But you know how she was acting? Exactly like fucking Allison.
Yep.
Like exactly like Allison.
It's too easy.
And for one, I shouldn't have been able to call that. And like, I'm not the greatest at calling things. There's a lot of shit that like, it takes me to the last minute. I'm like, damn, I didn't even figure that out. Like, I'm just like trying to. And maybe I just overthink shit. But I shouldn't have got that. And it shouldn't have been the reveal in the first episode.
No.
It's a good reveal in a way.
The rest of the runtime was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, awful.
Like, if that's your only saving grace, like, why am I watching this episode?
And to make the disclaimer, because I didn't finish this episode. Because episode 2 is Lord above better than the first one.
And we would have never thought that.
Yeah.
Which we'll review that as soon as we can.
Pilot episode
Is awful. It drags too long. Pacing's awful. Shit doesn't make sense at times.
It's all over the place.
They made the reveal, but they did it way too fucking early. It was way too easy to call. Like, I shouldn't have been able to see that from the jump. I mean...
And even the reveal itself only lasted maybe a couple of minutes.
But they kept doing, like, flashbacks to shit.
Yeah.
I'm like...
It's like so much shit was crammed in at the very end, and they spent so much time at this fucking party.
Yeah, just random
Like,
conversations about shit. And I guess we're supposed to see these characters and understand the characters in this moment. But, like, you spent too much time on that. Mm-hmm. We could have done that later. Like in the second episode, we could have, like, spent time with just, like, a specific character or whatever. Imagine, like the last episode, like, you see that shit and that was, like, in the reveal, and then you reveal the killer. Like, that's just, like, back to back. Or even the next to last episode. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you can fucking twist the twist.
Exactly. The first episode is not worth a watch, but you need to watch it to get the context of everything else. So if you finished watching episode 1 and you were like, fuck it, I cannot watch episode 2, bear with it, because episode 2 was leaps and bounds above it. Thank y'all for watching this. We will rate this at the end of the season, just like we did with Chucky. So far, like after one episode, I wasn't impressed.
No.
It's about what I expected I was going to get, which is not what I wanted. I wanted them to surprise me.
Yeah.
Tune in for that review when we put that out. Really appreciate y'all watching all these videos, giving us as much love as you can. Tell a friend, like, comment, subscribe. Like we have to tell y'all this shit so we can keep getting in this algorithm shit. We really appreciate y'all. So until next time, deuces.
Adios.
What a slam. Bring us back to your garage. Just my crew just might roll on you like